Blackkklansman. This movie takes place in the early 1970s. It opens up with an extremely racist speech by Alec Baldwin. It's anti-Semitic, it's anti-black, it's anti the civil rights movement. He recalls a quote-unquote better time when America resembled the antebellum South.
All right, anything else for you?
No, thank you, ma'am.
All right,
Appreciate it. This intro is a very strong tone setter for the movie. I must say that I believe it's one of Spike Lee's top 5 intros of all time. In this scene, which was a great creative choice, they included Alec Baldwin's bloopers. Now, I'm not sure whether these bloopers were written in or whether they just happened, but it made the scene hilarious. This scene, among others, is the reason why Jordan Peele and Spike Lee collabed in the first place. New police recruit Ron Stallworth is the first. New police recruit Ron Stallworth is the first black police officer in the Colorado Springs Police Department. After being stuck in the records room for a while, he's sent undercover to monitor an event where Black Panther Stokely Carmichael was speaking. Stokely is being played by Dr. Dre, aka Corey Hawkins. The charisma from Straight Outta Compton is still there. His speech has some gems. Every time he would drop a bar, the crowd's ad-libs had me dying. Boom shakalaka. I never really noticed it until I read this Mike.com article about how cinematographer Ava Bukowski lights all of the actors on Insecure. She said that with black sitcoms like Fresh Prince and The Cosbys, the conventional way was to light everyone brightly, thus resulting in a super bright image. She said that she looked to Spike Lee's and Ava DuVernay's work for inspiration. The article talks about how Bukowski does an amazing job of highlighting black skin as she takes into account the range of skin tones that black people have. Her method reflects the light off the actors, which gives them the glow that we see on Insecure. During Carmichael's speech, the camera pans over the audience and they show these group profile shots. The students are so beautifully lit, they look regal, they look like Hall of Fame busts. These heads feel like they are frozen acts of revolution. When you consider the fact that for over 4 centuries, black skin and black hair have been seen as 2 of the worst physical qualities that one can have, they seem to be embracing every fiber of their being. Those shots made me feel so much pride, and it's only right that Spike Lee and Jordan Peele got him. While there, Ron meets his future love interest, Patrice, who is the president of the BSU at Colorado College. She reminds me so much of Kathleen Cleaver. Later, they hit this restaurant/lounge, and this awesome Soul Train dancing scene happens. It's so psychedelic, smooth and melanated. My old Isley Brothers soul was smiling. Soon after, Ron and his partner Flip are sent on an assignment to infiltrate the Klan. Ron plays the white version of himself over the phone, and Flip shows up to Klan meetings as white Ron in person. In the movie, Ron finds the phone number to the local KKK chapter and leaves a message. Actual real-life Ron got the attention of the Klan in a different way.
I launched it based on seeing a one ad in the classified section of the newspaper, and there was a P.O. box number. I wrote a note, a letter, if you will, to that P.O. box. I basically said, I hate nigger, spics, chinks, Jews, Japs, and anybody else who isn't pure Aryan white like me. 2 weeks later, I get a phone call in my office. The voice on the end of the phone said, hi, this is Ken Odell. I'm the local chapter president of the Colorado Springs Ku Klux Klan. His response to me was, you're just the kind of guy we're looking for. When can we meet?
This movie has some witty takes on racial stereotypes. Until I watched it, I didn't know that the word toad was a racial slur against black people. There are some real critical conversations about race in this movie. Where it gets surreal is when it describes what we're dealing with now. It's super prophetic in a retroactive way. There are moments where I had to ask myself, did that really happen because of this? Did this chain of events happen because of that? In the third act, there's a sequence where you're going back and forth between the KKK and the activists. It's jarring to say the least. Have you ever got that feeling of when you've been on Facebook or Twitter for too long and you've just been scrolling and scrolling and scrolling and you've seen the 100th video of a black person being shot by the police, or the 30th video about the KKK having a rebirth, and it just becomes overwhelming? That's exactly how that sequence felt. This movie is the most recent realization or wake-up call to the fact that we are still having to fight to be considered human beings. We are still in 2018 having to talk about treating people with decency and fairness. This should be page 1 in the human being textbook. I was so surprised that Spike only used the floating dolly shot once in this movie. When he does use it though, it's powerful and shocking. This movie featured great acting by the whole cast. John Washington was dope. This is going to be the role that catapults him. He sounded like Denzel throughout the movie, especially when he would end certain lines and when he would raise his voice. He even walks like his dad. I would crack up every time he would say the word white, because he would say white. And this just hit me. I was thinking about how Denzel and Spike Lee have become one of the best dynamic duos in film history. And now Denzel's son is working with Spike Lee. It's just incredible. It would be like how Michael Jordan got 6 rings with Phil Jackson, and to have Michael Jordan's son now getting a ring with Phil Jackson. Laura Harrier as Patrice is the medium for the millennial conscious-minded folk. She did a good job representing the pro-black political anchor in the film. Her ideals about race and law enforcement clash a lot with Ron's political views. Adam Driver as Ron's Jewish comrade was great too, but that's not a surprise. In a buddy cop way, it was cool to see how both Ron and Flip had to endure the racist actions and attitudes of the Klan. Again, it's just relevant to how we hear so much anti-Semitic and anti-black rhetoric every day in the news. Robert Burke was dope as the police chief. Ken Garito as Sergeant Tat was hilarious. Ryan Eggold as the leader of the local chapter of the KKK was dope. There was this mentally challenged Klansman played by Paul Hauser. I died laughing at almost every one of his parts. He laughs like the sloth from Zootopia. He balanced out the super intense Jasper, another member of the KKK. Both were great. Topher Grace as David Duke is spot on. I mean, the mannerisms and the demeanor are eerie. Also, let me not forget to mention that the soundtrack is crazy. This movie, like the remake of She's Gotta Have It, is another step in Spike revamping what we love so much about his work in the 80s, 90s, and early 2000s. Jordan Peele and the writing teams that he's worked with lately are the perfect collaborators to help him bring his vision into the now. This movie is smart, fun, relevant, and soulful. I'm giving Blackkklansman an 8.7 out of 10. Don't be afraid to like this video, share this video. And if you want to help me make more videos, pledge $1 or whatever you feel to my Patreon page. This keeps me out of the Hunger Games and in front of yo face. We got more movie reviews coming, and we got more book reviews coming, and we got more of that random stuff coming your way. I'm in the bathroom.